Hey, what is up, guys? My name is Emiliano. I started strength slash hypertrophy training about 4 years ago. Now, before I touched any kind of external weight, dumbbell, barbell, I did calisthenics for about 1.5 years. And I think it's safe to say I made some pretty decent progress. And even till this day, I still do calisthenics as an alternative when I want to hit a quick workout at home. Maybe I just want to have a little bit of nostalgia, or maybe I just want to add a little bit of variation into my already set gym workout routine. So I just want to, maybe add some pull-ups in between my sessions, or I want to add some weighted dips, that kind of thing. There's a lot of discussions whether weights or calisthenics are better. In my opinion, if you mix both, you're always going to get best results, get best of both worlds. But anyways, I want to guide you guys, especially the ones that only have access to calisthenics, just getting started. Next 30 days, I want to give you guys a guide so you get better results than I did in less amount of time. Also, I did want to mention that I still have a few spots left in my free 30-day challenge where I'm offering one-on-one coaching for a few select people. Just fill out that Google form in the description or in the comments. I'll reach out. Starting with mistakes that I want you guys to avoid. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others, not just from his own mistakes. So, number one, doing too much too quickly. And what I mean by this is burning yourself out, doing too many reps, just going crazy, just starting to bust out a bunch of pull-ups, push-ups when your body just isn't ready. Now, of course, a lot of people will be like, oh, you want to be hardcore, burnout doesn't exist. Of course, you can always push through. However, that is not the most optimal way to go about things. That's why in the first week of just starting calisthenics, I recommend a lot of you guys to just get used to the movement, right? Do pull-ups, do your vertical pulse, vertical push, as well as your horizontal push and horizontal pull. A few examples of that is your push-up, your pike push-up, pull-ups, and some kind of inverted row. Number two, and this is a big one that I want to actually expand a little bit later in the video, recovery and nutrition are just as important as the training itself. I used to neglect my sleep because I just wanted to hit a workout. I was just so anxious. I really liked hitting the gym. And more often than not, most people will skip the nutrition part and just do the workout routine because it is easier to enjoy, that kind of thing. However, there is no yin without a yang. And if you focus on both nutrition, recovery, and workout routine, trust me, they're going to make much bigger of a difference than you think. Plus, even if it is boring or sometimes you feel like it's extra work, why not give it a shot so you can get the most optimal results as opposed to just getting mediocre results and you're always concerned thinking, well, maybe I could have gotten better results, maybe not, but you never know unless you try. And for most people, if not all people, you're going to get better results if you actually take care of your nutrition in terms of protein, all of that. And number three is overcomplicating things and not applying the same principles. Doesn't matter if you're doing strength training, if you're doing bands, if you're doing weights, barbells, dumbbells, whatever it is, your body does not know what kind of stimulus it is. It just knows resistance. And therefore, you apply the same principles with calisthenics as you would with weightlifting, except it's a little bit harder, right? Because when you're in the gym, all you gotta do is add another plate, get a heavier dumbbell, that kind of thing. However, in calisthenics, it's a little bit harder than that. You can, buy some kind of dip belt. As you can see in these videos, I have one of those myself. You can buy, external weights. You can still, hit kind of like a hybrid workout, which is what I like to call what I am doing here. However, if you don't, another way that you can progressively overload, which that is basically the most important thing when it comes to muscle building. This is what stimulates muscle growth. It just means that you're going harder than last time, because if you keep doing the same workout over and over again, your body adapts. You're not going to get better results. You're not giving your body a reason to grow. So now that we got that out of the way, week one, when just starting calisthenics, focus on just consistency, not perfection. Even if you set out to work out 5 days out of the week and you only go 4, that's still better than last time, more than likely. Focus on that consistency. And when you focus on perfection, you end up pushing yourself down, throwing everything away whenever you already had some kind of good progress going. You're never going to be perfect. You can only be better than last time. So just focus on that. Don't focus on burning yourself out. Focus on just showing up, because just think about it. You've never done anything else before in your life. That's already a win. So just focus on that. Just focus on being consistent, because it doesn't matter how good your workout routine is, doesn't matter which exercises you're doing, if they're best, if they're good, if they're not. If you cannot even show up, it doesn't really matter. Now, weeks 2 through 4. After this, it is pretty linear. However, you want to have some kind of structure or routine in place, whether that is 4 days, upper body, lower body, then repeat, or whether that is something like push-pull legs, then you repeat. That would be a 6-day split. Depending on how many days you have out of the week available to work out is how I would space this out. If you're more of a beginner, I would just go for an upper body, lower body. And yes, even though you are doing calisthenics, you should always still hit legs. You want to have a proportional physique, even if that just involves jump squats or Bulgarian split squats. I recommend you getting some kind of external weight, even if you don't have a barbell or something to hold on to like I am here. Get some books in the bag so that way you can progressively overload and still be able to hit that target muscle. But anyways, the reason you want a routine is because this is the only real way to actually apply progressive overload, through some kind of routine. Because if you're just, doing random things every single day, changing it up randomly, you can never actually track if you're getting stronger or not. I mean, you can do, the same workout routine, or you can do the same exercises every single week, but if you're not really doing them in a specific order, it's a little bit harder to keep that in mind and to keep track of your lifts. But that's another thing. You want to really, really apply progressive overload by keeping track of your lifts. Instead of focusing on just the pump, just focusing on, oh, I feel amazing, I feel like I'm strong. Focus on actually getting stronger. This is the only objective way of actually knowing if you're growing, getting stronger. Of course, the mirror, but the mirror can lie. You can see yourself differently on different lighting, and that can, cause weird ideas in your head that are not even there. So the only way to actually objectively know if you are getting better is by tracking your lifts. And that doesn't just mean, of course, optimal way, you want to get a dip belt so that way you can apply some kind of weight eventually. However, if you're just a beginner, there's different ways to progressively overload. You can do the same amount of reps, same amount of sets, however, slowing down the movement so that way you get a better contraction, better stretch, more time under tension. That's gonna more than likely, especially if you're a beginner, stimulate muscle growth. So that's more than enough. Or you can apply a little bit more reps, a little bit more sets. However, I always go and preach for less sets, less reps, higher intensity. And that means no more than 3 sets, no more than 12 reps. Once you can do a set of push-ups of 12 reps, make it harder somehow. Don't just continue busting out the same 12 push-ups. Make it harder by, I don't know, getting a different grip, maybe applying some kind of weight, or instead of doing push-ups, you do dips, that kind of thing. But anyways, guys, there's so much information that I could give you guys right now. It's really, really crazy. However, going back to what I was saying, all of this is worthless unless you get your nutrition and your recovery in check. You want to get the most optimal results, not just whatever works. So that's why I have all these different kind of videos that you can check out after this one. I go over nutrition, recovery, all that kind of thing, and the mistakes that I made personally by just focusing on the workout routine itself and not focusing on the other side of the spectrum. Because, like I said, most of the time, most people will neglect recovery. However, it goes both ways, right? Vice versa. If you got good recovery, you eat very well, but you don't train very hard, it's going to be the same outcome. Anyways, yes, guesswork is inevitable, guys. That is why I still have those few spots open in my free one-on-one coaching. Just apply down below, fill out the Google form, I'll reach out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.